Hey everybody, welcome to another Rainmaker podcast. And today we got a dandy for you. We got none other than Mr. Producer, top producer himself, Kevin Alexander. And he's going to show you exactly what it takes to become a Rainmaker. So grab a pen and a piece of paper because you don't want to miss this episode. All right, let's go. All right, Kevin, I just realized this as the intro was playing. There has not been one person that's been on this show as many times as you have. So welcome back for the fourth time because you always seem to deliver. Thanks so much for sharing some time with us today.
Well, hey, awesome. I appreciate the opportunity to be on here, getting to share and tell folks about the blessing that we get to be a part of.
Yeah, for sure. And so I want to jump right in. And one of the things that the theme for this podcast is going to be radical transparency, right? And clear expectations. Because one of the things that I know about successful people is when you're trying to do big things, it takes a lot of sacrifice, right? And a lot of people want what you want, but they're not willing to give up what you gave up, right? And there's a saying that everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. And so what I want to talk about today is, kind of how you got started in the business, that journey that you went on, how you were able to achieve the success that you've been able to achieve, and then what's next for you? What are you building? What are some amazing things that you're doing? Because, I'm used to seeing you on the leaderboards, riding 100 to 130 every single month, and then you kind of disappeared for a little bit, and I knew you were up to something. I knew you hadn't quit or given up, and you said, Arturo, I've been on this mission to do this other vision, and we'll get to that at the end, so make sure you guys stay tuned. And then out of nowhere, some amazing things happen. And so I want to kind of start from the beginning of the journey because I think this is very powerful and even amazing for me to just sit here and witness it and be a part of it. So I'm proud to be doing this podcast for sure. So Kevin, let's start from the beginning. How did you even get started in the life insurance business in the first place?
Well, years ago, back in the early 2000s, I was in the insurance business, except I was on the Medicare side, doing Medicare supplements and all of that. And the company that we was with, I was a captive agent. The company we was with then had the number one agency in the nation for, I guess, about 5, 6, maybe 7 years for that time. And so built a pretty successful agency there. And then I know people think I'm crazy when I say this, but I walked away from that agency, shut it down to go into the field and do missionary work. I felt God laid it on my heart. Traveled all over the world, India, Africa, Haiti, all over the world, ministering the gospel, helping kids, helping build churches. Opened up churches here, or a church here. Got really involved with helping folks out here with a men's home and seeing lives be transformed, and got involved a lot with going into prison, doing prison ministry. So for the next 8 or 9 years, that was what I'd done. And the money I'd made in the insurance business when I was in the Medicare sales, that was the money that carried me through all of that. So the renewals and everything that I had carried me a majority of those years. So I didn't have to depend upon anybody else. Didn't have to beg for money or anything like that, which was great. The insurance has always been good to me. So when those renewals started running out, I decided that it was time to get back into it, open it up again. And that was when I come across FFL. I liked their contracts. I liked their training. I liked their philosophy. Jumped back in, had to take my test again. I didn't keep up with everything. Had to get my license, had to go through all that again. Tested, got it back, and went to work and just took off. Just kind of almost took off where we left off, 10 years.
Yeah, for sure. And, one of the most profound things that I do love about doing some of these podcasts is the unique backgrounds that people have that makes people special. And yours is, being a minister of the gospel. And one of the things that I'm curious to understand from you, because sometimes I feel like this is my ministry. Like I'm helping other people serve other people that really have a calling to do something that I was okay at, but people that are much greater at me. And I'm like, well, I have this gift over here. So why don't I be a part of it indirectly by sharing this piece to make people more powerful. So I'm curious, what's the translation between doing missionary work and, having a church and being the leader of that, and, helping protect families? What's the correlation to those two that's making you have so much success?
There's a lot of correlation there, a lot of different ways. Number one is that I know the importance, Arturo, of protecting families, and I'll tell you why. Being a pastor, also, I have seen, I do not know how many times people come into my office, family members pass away unexpectedly, moms pass away, dads pass away, children get killed in a car wreck. Whatever it is, I don't know how many times I've seen it happen. I don't have enough fingers and toes to count them all.
Mm,
And what's really, really sad about that is the amount of people that are not prepared for that, that come in and they've lost a loved one. And not only are they having to go through the emotional just tearing of the heart of losing a family member, but the second thing that hits their mind, and this is what I've heard for every one of them, from
mm,
every one of them, is not only have they lost their husband, lost their wife, lost their child, lost their grandchild, whatever it is. And as I sat here at my desk and the tears are flowing down their face and their heart's broken. But the second thing is sometimes guilt comes on them because they didn't have nothing in place. And these are true stories. I'm not just making this up to
mm.
try to pitch life insurance. I've lived this, and this is come in here, and then the next thing that hits them is the emotional part first. The second part is the money part. What am I going to do? How are we going to pay for this? I want to give my son. I want to give my daughter. I want to give my husband. I want to give my wife. I want to give them a burial. And, they're saying, I didn't see the importance of life insurance until now. And so many times that we as a church, we've stepped in and raised up money and helped them pay for these things. So that's the number one side. And it's almost like, I can't say, and it's almost like the people that I've talked to as they sit down, they almost feel guilty because they didn't have that in place in order to almost give this last sense of respect to their loved one, that they want to give this good going away, going home. They want to do it, but the things wasn't in place. I mean, that's the only way to say it.
Yeah.
So with that, I really see the importance of it because I've seen this, Arturo, firsthand dealing with the families. I've seen families get ripped apart. I've
Mm.
seen brothers get turned against brothers, sisters against brothers. Why? Because stuff wasn't in place. They start arguing. I went and seen mom and dad more than you did. Well, I mowed the yard more than you did. So you should pay more. You should pay this. And this is something that can be so easily prevented, but so many people don't have it in place. So not only do you have the emotional stress of losing a loved one, then you add the financial stress on top of that. And then you add the chaos that it puts into the family on top of that, of them trying to raise money, selling barbecue plates, going on Facebook, doing GoFundMe account. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. So this really right here, it's an opportunity, really. I see it as serving people. Do I get to make a good living on it? Yeah. But you know what? I'm still serving people. I'm still causing people to see a need that they have that they may not see right then at that moment.
Yeah, it's funny because that makes sense. Because now it takes me back to two thoughts. The first thought is my mentor, Myron Golden. He always talks about the Friday night prayer service. The two top requests is for health and finances all the time,
Yep.
right? Always praying for
Yep.
that. And he's like, as a church, as a people, like we should have the Bible has scriptures in place for these types of things, that we should have mastered these principles by now after
Yeah.
going to the church for so long, right? The
Yeah.
inheritance for your children's, well, maybe it was talking about getting some life insurance or having
Well,
something in place, just thinking forward. You know what I'm saying? Just thinking through that. But the other thing was, it takes me
yeah.
back personally to 2002, man. My grandma passed away, and I can remember we had a house on the south side of Chicago, and my grandmother has 6 children. And
Mhm.
at the time, my grandfather was a debit man. And I think what happened was, because a lot of people didn't understand insurance, and I was probably, 18, 19 at the time, that she had a 2-year wait on an insurance policy. And
Mhm.
so she passed away before the contestability portion was up. So everybody's like, oh, the insurance didn't work. And they just didn't understand how it went. That it was just unfortunate that it was just a freak thing where she had a surgery that was supposed to be routine. And then she just
Mhm.
had an infection and she just passed. But normally
Yeah.
that would have paid out. And from that moment where everybody's expecting the insurance to pay out, nobody else had any money, which was
Yeah.
unfortunate. But then we had to sell the house on the short sale,
Yeah.
and my mom went back and forth to do all this work. And I just remember seeing people act ways that I've never seen them act before. I'd
Yeah.
seen people that have raised me my whole life, upset with my mom about stuff. And I'm still young; I'm not understanding what's going on. But man, there was a good solid 3 to 5 years where people didn't come to the Fourth of July barbecues and cookouts and Thanksgiving for a minute. And sometimes it's, honestly, 20 years later, it's still some rumblings of that house and how it went down. And I didn't get enough money. I thought I should have gotten more. And it's
Yeah.
very unfortunate that, to say that happens, it seems it's common, honestly.
It
It
happens a
happens,
lot.
yeah, it happens too often. And so I can see, as a minister of the gospel, not just teaching people to clean up their house spiritually, but cleaning up financially as
It is.
well. That, it'd be remiss not doing that, which is impressive. So
Hey, people always ask me, Arturo. They say, Kevin, you think life insurance is in the Bible? I said, what do you mean? Do I think life insurance is in the Bible? I say, hey, Abraham, before he died, he had his tomb built and prepared. They brought him back to his tomb. And so many times through the Bible, you go through and look, and these forefathers, they would go purchase a piece of land, and they would go in and have their tomb ready so that when they died, it was ready to be buried. Now, they didn't call it life insurance, but what was they doing, Arturo? Having everything in place so that their
yes,
family wouldn't have to deal with it when they left. So they didn't have life insurance then, but you know what? They even had the understanding back then that they didn't want their family to have to deal with this. They went ahead and planned everything. They had it set up. Everything was taken care of. Everything was in order. So it was just ready to go. Instead of all of a sudden you're looking around at that time going, what are we going to do? Where are we going to come up with this? Where are we going to come up with a piece of land to bury him? Where are we going to come up with the money? Where are we going to come up with the tools? It doesn't make any sense when you really think about it, not to have these things in place in order to make sure that your family's taken care of. And as we said yesterday, I should not have to convince somebody to take care of their family.
right. Yes. Yeah,
You
we
know,
should we should not be having a conversation sitting belly to belly or knee to knee or eye to eye with a gentleman on a phone call saying, "Man, hey man, what are we talking about? $50 to $100 for your family, man. What are we
yeah,
talking about right now? Either
that's
you
right.
have it or you don't, and you need to go. You need to get this, and then you need
Yeah,
to get to work. One of the two, right?"
that's it.
For sure. So let's digress a little bit. Let's talk about your transition in the life insurance business, because how long have you been in the industry now total?
I've been back. I was in it about, I guess, six years. I guess back in the early 2000s, 6 7 years somewhere in there. And I've been back this month, November. Today's the 30th. I think I started back in November of 2019.
Okay, so let's talk,
So,
because that's perfect, because that's an interesting time right around C19, so we can talk about that. But I
mhm.
want to go back to the first stint. What was the first 90 days to 6 months for you as a captive agent in the insurance industry?
Back when I was doing the Medicare,
Yeah.
man, hey, it was, I've been in sales, Arturo. I've been in sales before that. I sold mobile homes. I was in the mobile home business. I used to, matter of fact, have my own mobile home dealership here in Texas. Had millions of dollars worth of inventory. Made a tremendous living at that. The reason I transitioned over into the insurance business is things in the mobile home business finance started shutting down. The repos started popping, and they cut the faucets off on lending on the mobile homes, going to land home packages, all of that stuff. So that's how I ended up being in the insurance business. So when I first went into the insurance business back in the early 2000s, um, I didn't know there was any other options out there. I come across a place that was willing to pay. I heard about these renewals that you get, and I was like, "You mean you keep on paying me money, year after year for the policies?" And they were like, "Yeah." And they said the only thing is you can only sell for this company. So I didn't know there was any other companies out there. I didn't know there was a such thing as brokers. I didn't know you could sell for 7 8 9 10 different companies. I didn't know anything. I just went in there and we was talking about contracts, and the guy told me that I was working for. He said, "If you do this much production, I'll move you to this level. If you do this much production, I'll move you to this level." And I just told him, I said, "Look," I said, "I'll be your top salesperson within 90 days." And he looked at me and he kind of laughed. And I said, "I'll be your top salesperson in 90 days." And he told me, he said, "If you can do that in 90 days, he said, I'll start giving you a 3% bonus off of everything that you and your team sells." So anyway, within the first 30 days, I was his top salesperson, and so started building a team, and we moved on up. And back in those days, if you sold the final expense policy, because we'd do mostly Medicare, and then we'd put a final expense with it, you was getting like 60%. And that was even high, from what I understand, what a lot of people are making now. But I thought 60, 75%, I thought that was good money. So we just built a team, become number one, become his top salesperson, went to work, honoring God through it. And that was it. Just working
Yeah.
hard and going to work.
Yeah. Uh, so taking some of that skill set, right, from sales and kind of running your own business, because that's essentially what independent insurance brokers are, insurance agents, right? Like you're entrepreneurs, you're business owners, you just happen to specialize in selling life insurance as your product, right? And so
Yep.
that's one of the big shifts is you have to treat what I'm saying, the insurance business as your business, right? And I think that a lot of times people don't look at it that way. It's just like, hey, tell me what to sell in this. And it leads in the and selling life insurance, speaking to people, that's just one piece of it. But like running a full business, I've noticed that you truly run your agency like a business. But so how did the starting with the practice company and doing the Medicare, how did that prepare you for what you've been able to rattle off since 2019, coming back into the business, right? Coming off of missionary work, seeing the funds being depleted, knowing that, you need, because you could have chose anything. You could have went back to mobile home dealerships. You could have went back to car sales. But there's a reason why you chose to come back into the insurance business, because you're like, okay, I got some unfinished business, and I know with the skill set that I could probably hit the ground running. And if the comp is good, then I can really kind of write my own ticket. So what things did you learn from that first stint that helped you to have success in this second stint since 2019?
Well, the number one thing I learned was that more millionaires come out of the insurance business than any other industry. I didn't know that. And if I'm going to work, Arturo, I'm a Christian. I love the Lord. But if I'm going to work, I want to make the most of my time. If I'm going to work 8 hours a day, if I'm going to work 10 hours a day, I can work 10 hours a day for $12, $15 an hour, or I can work 10 hours a day on commission, and the sky's the limit. So if I'm going to
Right.
work, I don't want any man telling me that, hey, this is how much you're worth per hour. This is how much your salary. This is what you're worth. And this is all that you're ever going to make. So I want to be able to set my own worth out there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I trust in my skills. I trust in my abilities. I trust in the work ethic that I have. I trust in that stuff that God has put in me. So you give me an opportunity to show my skills. You give me an opportunity to show my work ethic. You give me an opportunity to show my dedication and my commitment. Then we're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to succeed, So I knew there was a couple things that I had. I didn't know a whole lot about the life insurance, but this is what I knew. I was dedicated. I was committed. I had a strong work ethic, and I was coachable. That's what I knew. And on those right there, when I decided to get into the life insurance business, because I knew that there at that time more understanding that there's money up. And at that time, I just came in and I said, listen, I'm going to take my work ethic. I'm going to take the dedication. I'm going to take the commitment that I have. And then I'm going to find a few people that are doing what I want to do. In other words, I was going to find a few people that were being very, very successful. I was going to find some coaches out there that were writing the amount of business that I wanted to write. And then when I found those coaches, I just glued myself to them, and I did exactly what they did. What they said to do, I copied that and I did it. And I started seeing the same type of success. So I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. I didn't have to come up with my own plan. I just had to take the commitment, the dedication, and the work ethic that I had. I adopted somebody's proven system. I started working that system, and their system started working for me. And then we
Yeah.
built on top of that. It's really
Right.
pretty simple.
Yeah, it's funny because I think for new people that want to become their own boss, I feel like in the beginning they try to be too creative, which is like what you need to try to do is everybody try to come up with a business plan, but more importantly, what you should try to do is find the right business model and then
Yep.
model that. And once you get that to work, then you can put your spin on it. I think sometimes as newbies, we come in and we just want to like create something new, or we want to do this different idea that isn't proven yet. But like you said, you come in, do what the successful people did to get the results they want. And if you want the result that they have, if you do what they did, then there's a high likelihood that you can get the result that they're getting, right? That seems simple to me.
It's pretty simple, and it boils down to, in this business, you was talking about being a business owner earlier. And I think a lot of people think because they are self-employed or their own boss or a business owner, whatever you want to put on it, is I think a lot of people think that when they do that, that means that they don't have to work. They only have to work when they want to work. And you know what? Being a business owner, if you're coming in here, this may be a poor comparison, but I mean, it's like you're raising a kid. I mean, you're in here, and your child's life, you want to be involved. Your child's life, you want to be able to shape them and mold them and mentor them. And I look at my kids now, and both of my girls are grown and they're married, but I can still look at them and I see things that I put into their life. I still see character and I see morals and I see these things in their life that was put into them by sitting down and spending time with them in Bible studies with them and teaching these things. And I helped to shape, me and my wife helped to shape and to mold their life. And we see that nowadays. And I look at business the same way. If this business, it's like my kids, I can't just turn my kids loose and say, raise yourself. So this business is the same way. I can't just turn this business loose and say, build yourself. I want to be involved. I want to help shape future agents. I want to help mold agents. I want to help teach them the things. I want to help teach them the business. And coming in this business, it's basically become another child that I'm very, very involved with raising. And it's really neat to watch it. And it's so neat when you see agents, they start succeeding. Just like I look at my kids and I'll see qualities of their mom in them, or I'll see things that I've taught them and I'll see them standing for these things. Now I look at agents and I don't have a lot of agents yet. We're starting to build, but I'm looking at agents that I spent time with, and you can hear them in there and you can hear them saying things that you've taught them. You can hear
Yeah.
them doing things that you've taught them, and you sit there, and that's the reward to me. The
Yeah.
reward to me is seeing other people succeed. That's the reward to me. I absolutely love seeing people walk in victory. I like
Yes.
seeing people win. That's the reward to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that too. That's one of the
Yeah.
reasons that I get so much joy out of doing these podcasts, when I can see the difference that I've helped somebody that was already really skilled to just become a little bit more efficient, and more importantly, make the business a lot more profitable. So
What
let's
you did
let's
with us.
yeah, for sure. So let's transition into that. How did you come across Arturo Johnson Consulting in the first place?
Dude, I stalked you for about a year and a half. Um, you know how we are, man. You know
Yes.
how we are. We'll sit there and look at something, man, see you on Facebook, and then the more you look at it on Facebook, the more it pops up on your Facebook. And every time I look, I'll be like, dude, this guy must be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars an hour. I don't know if he's only got my name typed in there and he's coming after me. I don't know what it is, but I see you, man, I watched you. Probably a year. Probably a year. Facebook. And it was, and even set up a couple of appointments with you and didn't do anything, set up a couple of appointments with some of your assistants, didn't jump on it right then. And then I think after maybe the second or third appointment, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I seen that, and I seen the consistency. I seen the everyday going up on Facebook. I seen the everyday being consistent and doing and doing. And that consistency is something that I can relate to.
Yeah.
Um, you Coming in and being that consistency. So every time I look in there, I watch people that they may not be the best, but they show up every day. They may
Yes,
not
for
have
sure.
a skill set, but they show up every day. It's like going to the gym. I love to go to the gym and work out. And I got a couple guys that I take to the gym, some of my agents, and going in the gym the first day. And, they wasn't strong at all. They're in there fighting to lift 125 pounds. And now they started working out with me. Now they're in there, they're busting out 275, and they're repping it out. And the deal was, they was weak when they started, but they was consistent. They showed up every day. And I seen that consistency in you. I seen that consistency in what you was doing. And so that's what I look for. I look for somebody that's consistent, somebody that's committed, and somebody that's willing to get down in the trenches with you, man. Basically, I always tell people like this: storm the gates of hell with a water pistol. Let's go.
Yeah. And you know what's funny about that though? High performers notice one thing, which is somebody that's hungry and a hustler, right? And that's one thing that you can do, is you can respect my hustle, because I'm showing up every single day. It might not be crisp, it might be a typo in there, but guess what? I'm there every single day, chipping away at it.
That's
And
it.
guess what? I'm always gonna get the job done. That's for sure.
That's
I
it.
will not stop to get the job done. And that's one of the things that the way I've been able to attract some of the top people, and they're like, "Why would you go and work with Arturo?" It's because I show up every single day. Like we're running.
Every,
When you're like, "Hey, when
every
we get this done, we're already on it." Hey, check your
no,
email, check your text. You got some stuff in your inbox that you haven't even had a chance to get to yet that you're waiting on. It's like, "Oh man, it's been sitting for a couple of days. Hey, let's get on
yeah,
that right now." And like top performers can respect that because success loves speed. And so let's talk about that. So let's talk about the speed part because I remember specifically Kayla had a conversation with you a couple of times and she called me and she's like, "Hey, Arturo, I know you're busy." And I think I was just picking my kid up from school because I remember having a conversation. I pulled over on the side of the road. Kayla was like, "Hey, you need to talk to this guy right now. I don't know what you're doing, but if you got 5 to 10 minutes to talk to him," and she kind of gave me the resume. I looked up. I was like, "Oh yes, this is an ideal customer." And man, was that probably one of the best decisions that I ever made because I remember you were doing about 30 to 40,000, maybe 45 a month, and I said, "Kevin, if what you're telling me, if you're driving all across Texas doing 40,000 a month with this system, you should be able to at least double that and work half as hard." And you're like, "All right, sign me up." Right. And I remember that. So,
yeah.
and so what most people won't probably haven't seen or don't know, so I'll tell you is Kevin was doing between 450 to 500,000 of insurance premium every single month, driving across the state of Texas, going door to door. And then we put some automations and systems, some lead gen and some CRMs and some technology onto an already high skill set. And he went on to do some amazing things. And so let's talk about that 12-month period or that
Yeah.
18-month period that because I think it was like August to like that next January. So like that last 6 months and then that full year that you were able to rattle off some numbers. What was that like?
Oh, it was crazy because, like you said, I was getting, the old leads where, come in the mail, or, the mail in lead on Facebook and buying them here and buying them there. And so I knew I wanted to do something different. I knew I wanted to get on the phones. And at that time, Arturo, especially with the IMO I'm with, the phones wasn't the most popular thing. So we kind of did it incognito. If you remember that,
Yes, I
because
do.
we still had to go beat the paint off a door. And hey, and I was kind of the same way. So when I seen you and I decided to start going toward these phones, man, I got to be I got to be able to look this person in the eye. I
Yeah.
got to be able, and even me right here, I'm talking with, what you see me on this camera, I'm using my hands and leaning in and out. So when I was talking to somebody across the table, I'm using this, I mean, we're engaged, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to transition this to the phone. Anyway, make a long story short, that's the reason it took me a couple times. I was a face-to-face guy. And so talk to Kaylee or Kayla, whatever. I can't remember her
Yes.
name.
Kayla, yes.
We did that. I was writing. I was Hall of Fame. My first full year was 2020. Made Hall of Fame driving all over from Oklahoma, all the way from Tulsa, Oklahoma, all the way down to Galveston, Texas, chasing leads, chasing final expense leads, knocking on doors, knocking on apartments, fighting dogs, fighting bugs inside the whatever it was, man. We was doing it, whatever it you know what it is, man. Going in and out, dogs. You walk up to a fence and they got a chain link fence and 5 dogs, and you're sitting there, man. You don't know if you're gonna get eaten, attacked, or whatever it is, but hey, you going in for it. But so then, of course, 2020, I mean, 2019, we started. As soon as I started, my first month in 2000, first full month in December of 2019, I think I already 2000. Second full month, January of 2020, wrote 43,000. I remember that plain as day. And then coming like March and April, I'm just getting going good. And boom, COVID hits, boom, they shut everything down. And so everybody was hiding out. And I'm like, hey, nobody else is going. This is a perfect opportunity. Let's go knock the paint off some doors. And so in that year, still going door to door, face to face. So 2021 come around and we was still doing, I was getting into mortgage protection. And then I was like, I got to figure something else out. This is changing. And that was when I got a hold of you. I think my biggest month at that time, going face to face, was 65,000. I had several $50-something thousand months, $65,000 months, especially when I got over into the mortgage protection. got a hold of you, set up our system. I don't remember what month it was exactly, August, September, whatever it was,
Yes.
but I know between October, November, December, somewhere in there was that first month that I wrote over 100,000 on my own pen. I think it was 100,000, 101,000. I think we did 101,000, 104,000. I think our biggest month was 135,000, something like that.
Yeah.
And somewhere in there in that next 12-month period from October, November, December, or something like that. In that next 12 months, we wrote, over $1 million in premium sometime with in that 12 period right there.
Yeah, that's incredible. And
Yeah.
and that's one of the things where I can remember we have these masterminds where people are paying, 8 to 10 grand a month to come using the Agent Accelerator program. And people are like, all right, I want to come. Kevin Alexander's going to be there. And I want to know what the secret to what Kevin's doing. And
No.
we get there and he's outworking you guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's the secret. Yeah. It's like you call a lead twice and give up. And Kevin's like, I call a lead 9 times. I have called a lead 27 times in a day. And people are looking like this. And I'm like, that's the reason why he wrote over $1 million in a 12-month span, is because he's willing to do what you're considering to be pestering other people when they submitted information and requests for something that you aren't bold enough to just give it to them.
In this business, Arturo, the biggest thing is everybody wants to make it. Everybody wants the success. Okay. And I always tell people, I'm just dumb enough to believe the Bible. Whatever the Bible says, I'm just dumb enough to believe it. I'm not going to argue with it. I know I'm not perfect on keeping it all the time, but even when I'm wrong, it's still right. You know what I mean? Even when I mess up, it don't change. And that's the same way with people that got proven systems. I was at a conference. I heard Sean Mike one time say, hey, you triple dial. What do you mean triple dial? You call it, it'll ring 3 times. All right. If they don't answer, you hang up, you call right back, let it ring 3 times. If they don't answer, you hang up, you call right back, let it ring 3 more times, go on to the next lead. Well, he said that. I said, okay, this man, he's running this. He's got one of the biggest IMOs in the nation. Evidently, he knows what he's talking about. So I'm not going to argue with him. So I just started doing that. And a majority, even still today, I told you that I set a while ago. I told you before we started this that I set 11 or 12 appointments in an hour and 21 minutes.
Yes, you did.
Every one of those, but still a majority of them, they're going to pick up on the second or third ring. But people are afraid, people want it, but fear is the biggest thing that keeps people in a cage and holds them back. People say, here's the deal. Fear will be your mind telling you what somebody's going to do without you even addressing them. So fear will say you don't call that person, they're going to be mad at you, and you're listening to the thought in your mind, and that fear convinces you not to call that person. And then, you know what? I love it when I say this. I said, we love to talk about people judging people. I say, you're sitting here, all right, scared to call that person because in your mind, you've already made a decision that this person's going to be mad. I said, who's really judging who? I think you're judging this person that he's a mean person, she's a mean person, going to scream and yell at you, and you believe it. You convince yourself of that, so you move on to the next one, and you're missing so many opportunities. Fear backs people into a cage in this business and keeps them from being successful.
Yeah, that makes so much sense, because what happens is the thoughts in our mind, right, create this barrier for us to have physical success because we consider all of these possibilities of things that could happen. And I always talk to my sales team too. It's like, if you got like a headache and then the first thing we do is we Google it, and then the first thing at the top is usually like eye cancer or brain tumor or something like that. And
You're
then
dying.
we fester about it. We fester about it for the next 2 days. We book an appointment to go to the doctor. And we don't consider the reality, which is, you know what? I'm 40. Just maybe I'm getting up in age and my eyesight is getting worse. And I probably just need to get some glasses, or the glasses that I haven't been to the eye doctor in 2 years, that my prescription don't work anymore. My eyes have gotten worse. And so instead of just taking the action, just going directly to the doctor, we fester over things, and then now all of these things come up. So my whole point to that is a lot of times we make up things in our mind that keep us from taking action that have nothing to do with the end result if we actually took the action, right?
Yeah. I've heard
100%.
People say it a million times. What is it? Paralysis by analysis. And I'll see people, man, just sitting there staring at your phone, not dialing, just sitting up there staring. Drives me absolutely crazy. One of our top producers just made the Hall of Fame when he'd come in, him and his wife are a team. But I used to sit there, and I'll give a shout out to Melissa Bohay. Melissa Bohay started November of last year, made Hall of Fame her first year, November of this year. So a good job, excited for her. But
Wait a
her
minute,
and her
time
husband.
out. Is that the young lady that had the sign up that was saying she was going to hit Hall of Fame?
No, she already no. This lady right here, hey, she's so mild and meek that she wouldn't even hold a sign up. You would think seeing this girl, you think if you went boo, it's scary, but something happens. Man, when she gets on that phone, man, and she gets that phone burner lit up, I mean, she like turns into a beast. I mean, and she's the most nicest, aggressive person I've ever seen in my life. So people just love her. But I remember when I was training Mark, her husband, he's going to be in Hall of Fame. Took him a little longer to get his license and everything, but he's going to be the next Hall of Famer. And I used to sit there. He'd sit in there and he'd just look at stuff. And he's very analytical. I'm not analytical at all. You got two kinds of people, Arturo. And if you ever go to a public swimming pool, they're both there. You got
Yes.
people at a public swimming pool, and you got some of them that they get down there at the shallow end, and then they try to ease in the water a little bit at a time, and they pick it up and they rub it on their arms, and all this stuff. And then you got people like me that are walking around the edge looking for those people, and we just cannonball right beside them. You got
Yes, yes. All in, baby.
all in. And
Yeah.
so Mark, he'd sit in there, man, and he's a stud now. But he'd sit there but he'd want to know everything. He'd want to know why you do this and why. And I used to just sit here and I'd go, just call the lead.
Yeah.
And, man, he got it. And man, hey, they are just killing it. They went all in. But you know what? They just simply what they've got? They got a work ethic. They're committed. They're hungry, and you know what? They're coachable. They just did what they were told to do, and it works. It
Yes,
works.
that's amazing. So let's transition to that. So you go from writing in a 12-month period, $1 million, and then you finally achieve that goal that you're trying to achieve. But then you look and there's another mountain that you want to climb to the top of, and then you're like, you know what? I want to share some of the things that I've learned over the journey of writing 100K consecutively, month after month after month after month, and I want to show some other people how to do this, and then I want to build an agency that to really help a bunch of people. So
Yeah.
so you go from doing $1 million to down to like 300,000 because you start recruiting and training. So what are some of the lessons that you learned from writing $1 million worth of insurance that you're now teaching some people that have now been able to hit Hall of Fame and hit some of their goals as well?
One of the things I learned about hitting $1 million is, getting up to 750,000, $1 million. It's it's not impossible. I think a lot of people, we look at it from it's impossible. We see people out there that are writing 1 million, 1.2 million, 1.3 million, and we automatically assume that there's no way that I could do that. There's some kind of power on them. And I figured out that they're people just like I am. But what is the difference? What is the difference? How can they do it? Because I know people. I know I'm good at sales. I know I'm good at those things, but I didn't have the proper systems in place. So that was the number one thing I had to do. So what I did, Arturo, is when I decided that I wanted to go for a million, I wanted to write a million in a 12-month period. And when I got your system in place, and we talked about that, we started game planning for that. Building up on our ad spend, building up on the leads, getting it there, boom, boom, boom. When I decided I wanted to do that, my first goal was to write $1 million in a 12-month period. Okay. And I did that. I felt like I wanted to do that. I needed to do that because I wanted to have credibility to other people.
Yes.
Not saying I had to do it, but I wanted to have credibility to other people. And so by doing that in that 12-month period, it wasn't in a calendar year from January to December. From January to December of 2022, I wrote right at 900,000.
Right,
But
but
from
but
like,
October to October.
it was like 1
Yes.
million. Yeah.
Yes.
So we did that. And then, so once I hit that, my goal this year, and it's been hard. I mean, it's really been hard. And when I say hard, because as a salesperson, I know we want to stay humble. I know we want to stay hungry, But I think we all like to see our success. We like to
Yes.
see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We like to work. The Bible says it like this: to enjoy the fruit of your labor.
Yeah.
So if you're going to work hard, I like seeing the fruit of it.
Yeah, for
um, I,
sure.
I love the opportunities that it opens up, and the reason I love it, the reason I love the opportunities is because Arturo, when you're writing that kind of business, it opens up such a door, such an opportunity to go share what you're doing with other people. But not only does it do that, but it gives an opportunity now to go out, and Jesus works into everything that I do. The Lord works into everything that I do. So just getting and going to share at the conventions and share with other people and do that, it's just opened up a ton of doors. So I'm so appreciative for that. But really, my goal in 2023 was to produce 5 Hall of Fame producers. So
Mm.
what I did is the system that I had in 2022, the system that we worked, that we did the business with. Then I took this system and I started just working with a few people. I didn't go out, I didn't recruit heavy. And I'll tell you why I didn't recruit heavy, because I was doing that back in 2020, 2021. It bit me.
Mm.
A group bailed, got messed up, rolled around $200,000 in debt up to me. So my number one focus in 2021 was to work, pay that debt off, write $1 million. So people say, Kevin, how'd you do it? Well, you know what? It's a lot easier to pay $200,000 of debt off when you're writing $1 million in business than it is when
Yep.
you're writing 200,000. Let's go to work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when things happen, it's going to affect people in one of two ways. You're either going to bellyache, whine, and moan about it, or you're going to hunker down and go to work. And I've just got this no quit mentality. We're going to keep on showing up. So we got that debt paid off, all right, that roll up debt. And then I said, now I want to start teaching. So what I want to do, Arturo, what I started doing was taking small groups of people, bringing them in just a few at a time, and really teaching them our system, teaching our system to them, teaching them. Okay, you want to write $500,000 in a year. This is what it's going to take. Teaching them our CRM, teaching them the sales, teaching them to write the ask the right questions, spending time with them, being able to build them and shape them. And the reason this had to be done, Arturo, is because I knew if I invested this little bit of time on the front end and I got me 4 or 5 strong horses that I taught them the business the way that I know it, now I can release more of that business to them in the future. And now we can really start building. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I know it kind of goes against just blowing up and wanting to go grow real fast, but that's not the way I want to do it. I want to grow with people that are like-minded with me. I'm like-minded with them. They want to get in here. They want to grow. They want to learn this. They want to write good, clean business for the long haul down the road, and they want to build a team. And I want to teach them how to do it. And I believe I've got that skill set. I believe I've got everything in place. I believe 2024 is the year to explode. So we're looking for people.
Yeah. And so as we transition into the end of this part, what who are you looking for? What types of folks are you actually looking for to help, get, achieve their goals and their dreams, and then help you to build something amazing so that your team and your agency can hit your goals and dreams?
Well, number one thing I look for is I always tell people this when I'm hiring somebody new. I say, if you don't like hearing about the Lord, if you don't like hearing about the Bible, we may not be the place for you to work. That's number one, because we're going to talk about it. I'm going to give God all the honor, all the glory, and all the praise. Just because for the breath of life that He's given me, He is God and He deserves that. That's number one. Number two, what I tell people is the same thing that I think the qualities that I carry. And I tell people, I say, number one, you've got to have a work ethic. If you're coming to work with me, you got to be willing to work. You got to be willing to put the hours in. And when I say willing to put the hours in, that doesn't mean just sitting at your desk staring. That means that if you've got a no-show appointment, you're not just standing around waiting on your next appointment 30 minutes or an hour later, that you're actually working during that time. You're working your leads. You're calling your leads. So somebody that's got a good work ethic, okay? Number two, somebody that's committed, somebody that is committed to a schedule, somebody that's committed to protecting their work time, somebody that's committed, all right, to learning, somebody that's committed to putting the work in. And you may say, well, Kevin, if they've got a good work ethic, okay, somebody that's committed to training, somebody that's committed to learning, somebody that's committed to educating themselves also. And that was what I did. I didn't have to sit there and call who was my upline, Eric Anthony. I'll tell you a quick calling Eric Anthony when I first started, probably the best piece of advice that he gave me. And I called him one day and I said, "Hey, Eric," I said, "I was looking for something. I can't figure it out. And Arturo, when it comes down to all this computer stuff, not my deal. Listen, not my deal. So people may think so because we got all this, but hey, I'd probably be a millionaire if I didn't have to hire all the people to do what it is I gotta do. And I'm not interested in learning it. You know what I mean? I have to have four people around me to do the things that I don't know how to do. But I know how to sell and I know how to train. That's what I know how to do.
Hey, hold
But
on, hold on, hold on. Hey, even Nehemiah came in and started putting things in place and systems in place, right?
that's right.
You got to build a team.
The system king. Matter of fact, out of that, I preached a whole series on Nehemiah here a few months ago, just because of that. But that work ethic, committed to learning. And Eric Anthony, I called him one day and I was like, "Hey, Eric, I can't find this in my email or whatever it is." I remember Eric goes, "Hey, Kevin," he goes, "Can I let you in on a secret?" I said, "What's that?" He goes, "I don't get paid to sit around and find emails for you and teach you how to open them." I said, "All right, then." So I knew right then that I was going to have to figure some things out. So you know what I did? I become a student of YouTube. I become a student of Google University, and a lot of stuff I had to figure out. And I'm thankful for that. Why? Because it taught me so much. It taught me a lot. So be a student of the game. Don't just depend on what it is that's right here in front of you, but don't be afraid to go out and commit it to educating yourself every day, educating yourself on products, educating yourself on sales techniques, educating yourself on other things out there, because you're only going to grow. It's only going to benefit you. So that's number one. Number one, a good work ethic. Number two, being committed. Okay. Number three, being dedicated. Or let me put in that word right there, loyal, dedicated and loyal. If I'm going to come in here and I want to work with you and I want to pour into you and I want to teach you, I want somebody that's going to be loyal right back. Somebody that's going to put in the time, put in the work. We're going to work together. We're going to be a team here. We're going to be building something here. I want to help you to reach your goals, but in the midst of me helping you to reach your goals, you're going to help me reach my goals also. So it's a give and a take. It's a give and a take. So we're looking for people that are willing to be, got a work ethic, people that are committed, people that are loyal to growth, loyal to the system, loyal to other people. And then number three, and I guess probably one of the most important ones, is people that are teachable or coachable. That if you will do what it is that we do, if you will listen and apply, if you will listen and apply, you will get the results. So many people in this business, they want the results, but they're not really applying the action. Okay. It's like I said a while ago, we was talking about, triple dialing. And there's people that I've triple dialed 9 times in one day, called them 27 times. All right. And a lot of people, they'll sit there and they'll say, "Well, I called everybody." Okay. How many times did you call them? "Well, I went through my call sheet twice." So you called them once, one time in the morning and one time in the afternoon? No, we triple dial. We triple dial. Why do we triple dial? Because the triple dial increases the pickup rate. So we get a lot of people that we can have a lot of people that partially do it right, partially listen, but don't listen all the way. So they only get part of the results. They don't get the full results.
Yeah, 100%. Well said. So, this video is going to be for two schools of people, and the first school of people is the people who are in the matrix, the 9 to 5ers that you're driving to work every single day, and it's taking you a little bit to get ready because you're frustrated and you're wasting your time and you really don't want to be there, and you got to clock in and clock out. You got to sit in traffic and you got to drive all the way over there. You got to spend a quarter of your day in your life just doing something, punching the clock, something that's not that meaningful. When you have a calling and you feel like you're led to speak to something that's just a little bit more important that you could be doing, or you feel this pull that I know I felt, that is like, man, I don't want to spend the next 10, 20 years doing the 40, 40, 40 thing, which is, working 40 hours a week for 40 years. And then hopefully I can retire on 40% of my income. And
Yeah.
that's no way to live, right? And so this message is for you. And then the other school is the agent that's kind of stuck their toe in, and they haven't been able to find a couple things. They haven't been able to find the right system. they haven't been able to find the right mentor, right? And they haven't been able to find the right organization to be around. So those two schools of thoughts, schools of people, this video is for. So if you fall in those two categories and you're serious and not curious, Kevin, where can they find you to connect with you and say, hey, I loved your story, and reach out to you if they want more information?
Number one, my cell phone number, 817-406-6253. Once again, 817-406-6253. If you call me and I don't answer, it's probably because I'm sitting here at the office, got a phone up to my ear, talking to people. Send me a text. That's the best way. Next one's by email, Kevin Alexander, FFL at gmail.com. Okay. You can shoot me over an email right there. Go to my Facebook page, Kevin Alexander. You can send me a friend request there. You can message me on Facebook, Kevin Alexander. And kind of off of what Arturo just said, this is why I think we're a good fit. If you're somebody out there and you're looking to build a business, you don't want to be stuck in the 9 to 5 grind that we talk about so many times. Not saying anything's wrong with that, but that just wasn't for me. I don't think it was for people like Arturo. And if you've watched this video this long, it's probably not for you either. You're probably looking for a way out. You know what? We're building something here. We're building. Are we even close to where we want to be yet? No. Are we really starting this out because we believe that we've got some proven systems in place? Yes. If you're looking to grow, if you're looking to build, if you want some solid training, some solid teaching, weekly Zoom meetings, 2 or 3 times a week, if you're looking for that and you're looking for a place to grow and you're looking for a place to flourish, I believe we've got the atmosphere for you. And I believe that we've got some powerful things that people don't even know about that can help you out. So
Yeah, well said. We'll go ahead and drop the proverbial mic there, because this has been absolutely impactful. So if you like this video, go ahead, like and subscribe. And then if you're one of those two schools of people, don't be shy. Don't think about it. Don't put it off and say, oh, I'll reach out to them. I'll wait till after the new year. If you watch this video to the end and you felt compelled to move from it, take action right now. Send him an email, send him a DM, call him, send him a text, right? Take the action now. Information alone isn't going to get you there. It's going to take you to take action. Again, faith without works is dead, ladies and gentlemen. So if you feel compelled and led from watching this video, reach out to us. The link will be in the description so that you can connect with Kevin Alexander. And if you want to go to the top, he is the epitome of a rainmaker. So, we say in the AJC that a good tree never bears bad fruit. And if he's wrote 1 million and now he's got 1, 2, 3 other people that have done 500,000, why can't you be the next one?
yeah.
Kevin, thank you so much for being on the Rainmaker podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll see you on the next one, brother.
God bless.